Pope Francis has died at the age of 88 after 12 years as the leader of the Roman Catholic Church. When a pope dies, a centuries-old ritual begins. The first person to be informed, and the one to confirm his death, is the Camerlengo, a powerful man who manages the Church and Vatican income. Tradition has it that the Camerlengo has to stand over the body of the Pope and call him 3 times by his baptismal name. If he does not rise, the Pope is declared dead, the Cardinals are informed, and the papal apartments are sealed off. Part of the ritual is breaking the Pope's ring. The ring seals the power of the Pope, and breaking it signifies the end of his reign and makes sure no one can imitate him. Only then the public is informed, and 9 days of mourning are declared. While roughly 1.4 billion Catholics all over the world might mourn their leader, soon a secret struggle for power will begin. But before that, a funeral takes place. The funeral of Pope John Paul II in 2005 was one of the biggest funerals in history. 4 million people gathered to mourn the Pope in the Vatican City, the little independent church-state in the middle of the Italian capital, Rome. Traditionally, popes are buried in 3 nested coffins made of cypress, lead, and oak. But Pope Francis, true to his simpler style, chose a plain wooden coffin lined with zinc. No flashy displays, no elevated platform. Just his body lying in the coffin with the lid off for mourners to pay their respects. And in another break from tradition, Francis is the first pope in over a century to be buried outside the Vatican, in the Basilica of St. Mary Major in Rome. Benedict XVI, who unusually resigned due to old age 9 years before he died in 2022, was buried in the famous St. Peter's Basilica, the final resting place of over 90 popes. The election for a new pope, called the Conclave, happens in strict secrecy inside the Sistine Chapel, 2 to 3 weeks after the Pope's death. No phones, no media, no outside contact. Each cardinal votes for their preferred candidate on a paper ballot, and this process continues over and over until someone gets a 2/3 majority. Election is not always easy. They can take days or even weeks. Some cardinals have even died during conclaves. The longest papal election in history was from 1268 to 1271, lasting almost 3 years. It was marred by political infighting between cardinals. Any baptized Catholic man can become the Pope. In theory, you could just walk through the doors of the papal apartments and nominate yourself. Chances are, however, you will not get the necessary 2/3 of the vote from the cardinals if they don't know you. When Pope Francis was elected in 2013, he made history as the first South American Pope. But historically, the cardinals have preferred Italians. A whopping 217 out of 266 popes have been from Italy. So if all of this is done behind closed doors, how do we know when a decision has been made? Simple. A smoke signal through a chimney to the outside world. Black smoke means no winner. White smoke means habemus papam, we have a pope. Once the white smoke appears, it's a countdown. Usually within an hour, the new pope will step out on the balcony overlooking St. Peter's Square. Senior cardinal announces habemus papam, Latin for we have a pope. And then the big reveal, the pope's name. They don't have to keep their birth name. Pope Francis was born Jorge Mario Bergoglio. He chose Francis to honour St. Francis of Assisi. The death of a pope isn't just the end of a life. It's the beginning of an ancient secretive process that will shape the future of the Catholic Church. And as the world watches, the white smoke will rise again.